Here we go again. Tiger Woods is in the news for all the wrong reasons. Woods' ex-girlfriend wants out of her non-disclosure agreement. Erica Herman is citing the Speak Out Act that allows non-disclosure agreements to be nullified in cases of sexual assault. Speak Out Act prohibits the judicial enforcement of a non-disclosure clause agreed to before a dispute arises involving sexual assault or sexual harassment in violation of federal, tribal, or state law. Woods reportedly locked his longtime girlfriend out of the house. Now she wants $30 million. Nicole DeBoard is here, criminal defense attorney, along with sports agent Doug Eldridge. Nicole, what do you make of this just from how she's trying to get out of it? If she's saying, I want to get out of this because of either sexual assault or sexual harassment, I don't know how you sexually harass your girlfriend. Does that sort of lead us to believe there could be potential sexual assault allegations against Tiger Woods?
That's certainly, I think, what she wants people to walk away from this thinking. Whether or not we'll ever hear more, because we don't know yet whether the court will allow them to breach that non-disclosure agreement. Who knows? But it does appear, without that additional information, to be a little bit like a money grab, just because she's asking for such a huge amount of money. She entered into the deal originally. Now she wants to back out of the deal and claim that there's this act that prevents it from being enforceable. So I do wonder just what kind of scrutiny the court and ultimately, if this goes to a jury, would be had here.
It's a wild story, right? Because allegedly they had this 6-year relationship, which say allegedly they did have a 6-year relationship. And then Tiger said, hey, we're going on a trip, pack your bags. They get to the airport and she's informed that she's been locked out of the house and goodbye, essentially. Interesting way to break up with somebody. Can't imagine why she has some hard feelings about that, Doug. But at the same point, from just a PR perspective for Tiger, she shamed him kind of into he has to let her talk. Otherwise, even if he did nothing wrong, it looks like he's silencing somebody who is a victim of sexual assault. It seems sort of profoundly unfair.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we had a split screen during the first part of this, but I was nodding as my colleague was talking. I mean, what this is trying to do is shape the court of public opinion in hopes of transcending to the court of law, right? This is death by 1,000 cuts. It's not about, no direct allegations were made against Woods or even any direct innuendo, but rather the broader stroke. Okay, let's define what I'm, second year of law school, right? The NDAs and non-competes were defined by overly broad and unduly burdensome in terms of their enforcement, right? The question here is not just what I can say, but what can my immediate relatives say? What can my friends and colleagues say? What they're trying to do here is essentially establish the boundaries of a potential court of law claim, but they're trying to do so through the court of public opinion. That's something that you and I have discussed on numerous occasions, Leland. The optics and the perception, it's important to understand the context with which Tiger Woods is coming from. My first television hit ever was 2009. It was my birthday, December 3rd. And I got a call about this crazy claim that involved Tiger Woods and maybe his wife and purported infidelity. And it was
and a golf club and a suburban, and
right?
Yeah. We have a graphic about all of that.
And he lost all but 2 sponsors, $34 million then, assuming 2.4% inflation, $47 million in real dollars today. So he's very right, and I say this calling balls and strikes, to have an NDA in place and be very concerned about the optics, because he might have cheated on his wife, but he didn't cheat the game of golf. There was no direct violation. This was all perpetuated around what we call the morality clause inherent in every endorsement agreement. In other words, if you do anything that runs afoul of your reputation, your image, and with it, our association with you, we reserve the right to terminate without apology. And Tiger Woods has walked across the fire coals before, and he's leery to do so again.
Yeah, hard to imagine that when any person would date Tiger Woods, they would believe that this was going to be a forever relationship based just solely on the history that Doug laid out. My mother just texted me about whether or not you can harass your girlfriend. Definition of sexual harassment, U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission. It's unlawful to harass a person, an applicant or an employee, because of that person's sex. So you could certainly sexually assault your girlfriend, which seems to be sort of the way that Tiger's being attacked here. But Nicole, to your point, if all of a sudden now you can say to somebody, hey, I won out of my NDA because of sexual harassment or sexual assault. Even if you've done nothing wrong, you're forced to effectively let the person out so you can have this discussion, right?
That's right.
Something about this just doesn't seem fair, like the pendulum's gone too far.
Right. It does seem to be a little bit of trickery from the legal system, but look, rules are rules. And if this NDA had certain provisions allowing for disclosure under certain circumstances, her legal team is certainly going to do all they can to say, look, these are the rules. And to answer your mother's question, an interesting point here is that, as I understand it, this ex-girlfriend was actually once, prior to their long-term dating relationship, an employee of Tiger Woods and opened one of his restaurants in Jupiter, Florida. So there is a time period with
Yep.
employee, and then ultimately they move in together and have this long-term relationship. One of the more bizarre claims that I can see about why she thinks she's entitled to $30 million is that she thought that she had years left on this oral agreement for, of all things, 11 years to be able to live in Tiger Woods' house, and that now she can't live there, so she gets $30 million.
Yeah, it's wild. Doug, I got 30 seconds. Are we sort of now in a post-Me Too world? And this seems to be kind of the first test case, right, where the benefits that came out of Me Too, which were important, including that you can't silence people with NDAs, now we're having the unintended consequences.
Well, you are seeing a duality, right? And I think not apples for apples, but maybe an overlapping Venn diagram example is, the Washington Commanders, formerly Redskins, Washington football team, and their NDAs and Dan Snyder and purported sexual impropriety. Everything that I've said is with no privy to any, and I think Nicole would say the same, privy to nothing regarding specific acts of sexual assault, sexual harassment, et cetera. We're speaking in the abstract.
That's what she wants.
Understanding the jungle gym and hand-over-hand notion of how this goes with obviating an NDA. And what you see more often than not is to press them in the court of public opinion, such that the absolute circling wagons light the fire that they will never, ever
have to go to court.
Ever transition to the court of law. And that's ultimately what Tiger, look, burn me once, shame on you, burn me twice, like, you know how this goes.
I got to run. Nicole, Doug, great seeing you both. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.